This is a tire tank system that I put in about 15 years ago. It tries to utilize some general energy sources. It's got some solar components to it. It's got some geothermal to it as well, kind of deal. And its basic construction is you take your normal rubber tire earth mover tank. I use smaller ones than the some, not the great big 15 footers. I use the smaller ones so that the turnover of the water is more frequent, more warm water coming in on a regular basis, kind of deal. And it's on a pressure system, so I know it's going to flow in when the cows have drank it down, kind of deal. So the if you take a normal tire tank and it's set here, what's different about this one is I've taken a I believe it's like a 14-inch diameter steel pipe that stands up in the middle. It goes down about 8 foot into the ground, and it comes up into the center of the tank. It then has gussets running off the main pipe up to a circular support that the upper portion or the other half of the tank sits on. And that's how it stays elevated at that point. Shooting for about a 2-foot gap between the upper and the lower. That seems to be sufficient for the cows and calves to get into and get a drink and not be hitting too much. It does pull a little hair off, and they seem to like that as well. Now, also, the solar component of this is there's a center cavity that's in the inner rim portion, inner diameter of the upper lid of the tire. And so that cavity is sealed off with a steel circle and plate. But then on the top of the rim, there's a plexiglass component or piece that it kind of acts as a greenhouse effect where we got the solar coming in, striking the metal plate on the bottom, which then radiates into the cavity of the inner cavity, air space of the tank, and then at night, you don't lose as much heat because it's not up against the plexiglass. It comes up against that plate underneath. So you got the 4-inch air gap or so that creates an insulation during the night, but you still get the solar component during the day. The other part of the geothermal part is that pipe in the center comes up within a foot of the lid and is open all the way down to the ground. So you get some convection of the air circulating, warming up in the bottom of the pipe, coming up, the cold air falling to the bottom of the pipe and being warmed by the Earth's surface, kind of deal.
So what kind of weather have you seen this stay open?
This tank with a good bunch of cows on it, barring severe winds that tend to push the flaps open and can get in a little bit, but it's got to be pretty bad. It stayed open 30 below.
Okay.
So the major component is procedurally, when you move cows out, you have to get the tank drained, or you're going to have an ice cube until mid-May, June sometimes.
Right.
And you can't have a small number of animals on it during winter time because you need that turnover of water. You can't, if it's not turning over and keeping warm from that, you get those cold temps and it'll freeze over. And
what do you feel like is the right number of animals to be on it where you have the water flow that you need?
Well, it'll vary by temperature, but if you're shooting for something that stays open at 30 below, I'd have at least 200 head on the thing to turn it over. Now, you could run some calcs on that to kind of come up with your heat loss and stuff, and the turnover, what the cows are drinking. But just a gut feel, I'd say 200 on a tank this size.